You said you might know who put down Fame.
Got an idea, yeah. I ain't 100%.
Speak.
Now we've finally got something to dig into in terms of new pictures for Season 4, Episode 8. I have been waiting patiently because we went through all the main topics last week. There was no point going over the same things once again, especially because they do tend to drop the exclusive images for the next episode on a Monday morning or an afternoon, and I did think, let's just kind of wait and dig into some new bits with whatever they drop, and I will be leaving the actual preview for Thursday mornings. I do want to kind of just focus on a couple of images involving Juke. There's this image where we've got someone putting his hands on Juke, and judging by the wallpaper, Kanan does seem to be in the same location. Whether they're here at the same time, who knows, but we are going to dive deeper into a couple of these images involving Juke. This situation, which I have done a bit of digging and a bit of research, I do think this could potentially be OC's brother or a relative of OC. We've also got her with Rock, and also Detective Garcia. So, that's the hot topic of today's breakdown. We're going to look at the situation involving Juke, just in terms of these new images, as we head into the home stretch for Raising Kanan, Season 4. Now, starting with this image where we've got someone putting their hands on Juke. We already know from the synopsis for episode 408, it does mention Jukebox is going to join the hunt for a missing OC. I have also done a bit of research and checked IMDb, which isn't always reliable. I do have to make that point first. During Power Book 2 Ghost, a lot of people were looking at IMDb, where they saw 2-Bit listed in multiple episodes throughout the whole series, but ended up being disappointed when he didn't show up. So, IMDb definitely isn't 100% accurate, but they do have OC's mother listed for episode 408. With that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if Jukebox is on the hunt for OC. She turns up at OC's mom's house where she questions her, or maybe whether she actually runs into potentially a brother or a relative of OC. So, that's number 1. Maybe expect to see OC's family or people that are connected to OC when Juke goes on the hunt. Now number 2, putting hands on Juke, that's something you definitely don't want to do. Big mistake. The look that Juke's got here on her face, whether it's OC's family or someone else, this is a big no-go. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Juke showing exactly why you don't mess around. This is someone who has a lot of Marvin in her. She's a Thomas. She's very tough. She's grown up in a messed up world, experienced a lot of bad trauma, and let's not forget, she's also not come out of basic training not too long ago. So this is a huge mistake. I think whoever this is going to find out exactly who Jukebox is, what she's capable of, and why she's so tough. I mean, Jukebox didn't get the reputation Kanan spoke about in Power for no reason. She is going to show why she was so feared in the streets. This is the season where she's stepping up as much as Kanan is, and I do think we can probably make a case where she was even crazier than Kanan, a lot more colder than Kanan was back in Power. All these situations that she's been through, and more so in Season 4, these are the situations which will make her that character that was set to run these streets harder than some of these men. Now, just also as another small observation, Kanan does also look like he's at the same house or apartment. You can make it out with the wallpaper in the background, just. Whether they're here at the same time, who knows. But that's just a small observation. Kanan does look like he's in the same house or apartment. But with that being said, let's talk about Jukebox and Rock. Now with Jukebox and Rock, it does seem like they're packing up Joyce's clothes. It's always tough when you lose a loved one, especially a parent, and then you have to go through everything that kind of comes after, which means packing up their clothes, going through their things and their wardrobes. So it's definitely going to be bringing up a lot of memories for Rock. Rock's looking in the mirror holding something that probably belongs to Joyce. I also wouldn't be surprised to see Rock wearing this at some point, either in episode 9 or 10, considering she's looking at herself in the mirror with a red jacket. And we've also said back in season 1, a devil in a red dress. It's a classic mirror shot that we should all be accustomed to when it comes to Power, and I do think Rock will be going through a lot of mixed emotions, especially because she was the one who put Joyce out of her misery. Now, from a timeline perspective, I'm not 100% sure that we are actually going to see Joyce's funeral. Last week I made the point of how Rock will get her product delivered by Hafiz, and that means a few weeks minimum would have passed. So Joyce's funeral may be something we don't actually even see. I think based on some of the teasers and trailers for episode 8, I do think they are going to jump forward a few weeks. Now in terms of Juke, I do wonder if she's going to question Rock in terms of what happened to Fame. I'm sure we've all seen the short clip they dropped on social media, but if you haven't, I'm just going to play you the part where Juke questions Kanan in terms of whether Rock was actually involved in Famous's death.
Hell nah. Nah, Rob would never. You just hate because you mad that she
I
did
knew
all.
you was gonna say I'm wrong, but just hear me out.
Now listen, there's no fucking way.
So we've got Kanan telling Juke it was Rock. He thinks Rock was behind calling the hit on Fame, which Juke does have a hard time in believing. But we all do know what Rock is capable of. Even Juke knows who her family is and what they've done before in terms of getting rid of D-Wiz. So, I wouldn't be surprised if she kind of throws a few subtle questions in Rock's direction to get a feel of whether she was or wasn't involved in Famous's death. I do think they're going to need a lot more to go on than just this scene here. I personally don't believe Rock was involved. We've spoken about the boy who cried wolf scenario and how that applies to Rock, and I have questioned before, if you did see Rock with these cops, why isn't he questioning the same with Snaps and Pop? I raised the question last week because those two names of Snaps and Pop do appear in the comment section a lot, and they are also on the suspect list alongside Rock, because even though I personally don't believe Rock was involved, I don't think there's enough to completely rule her out either. For me, she definitely still is a suspect because of who she is. Snaps and Pop are also still a suspect, and the same also applies to Detective Garcia and law enforcement. So let's see if Juke or Kanan kind of look in their direction. But let's see if Juke questions Rock. What else is kind of said in this conversation? Whether there's any more secrets being spilled between the two. We know their relationship is quite different. We know they share a lot of secrets with one another, and they have a really close bond. And the only person that we've ever seen Rock open up to in terms of what she's been through, her vulnerabilities, is Juke. With that being said, let's move on to Jukebox, who's no doubt being harassed by Detective Garcia. Now, in terms of Detective Garcia, pest is the word I used last week, because that's what I think he's going to be for the rest of Season 4. He's going to be an absolute pest. So, with Garcia, back in 402, we have to remember, Captain Baptiste told him, do what you gotta do, investigate Detective Howard's murder, and get to the bottom of the death of a cop. Captain Baptiste didn't care whether Howard was dirty, he still wanted the case resolved, not just some kind of cover-up. There's also the added element of Famous's death, a friend of Jukebox's. So, we've got Detective Garcia with Juke. No doubt he's going to be here to kind of ruffle some feathers, put some pressure on Juke, try and get whatever information he can. But again, the right word I think is try. We know Jukebox plays hardball when it comes to law enforcement, we've seen it before. This is someone who knows how to play the game. She knows when to speak, when not to speak, and I really don't expect Jukebox to give Garcia much at all. But I do think he is going to keep pressing. In terms of what he does learn come the end of Season 4, will he get as close as Detective Burke did? Because she was someone who had around 90% figured out to the T, if not more. She connected a hell of a lot of dots and made a lot of sense with her theory and investigation. It's just that she sounded quite batshit crazy and obsessed. So, I do wonder how close Detective Garcia will actually get to the truth. What will he learn? Will law enforcement actually pick up a win come the end of Season 4? As I mentioned before, circling back to the conversation with Captain Baptiste, he knows time is ticking for him at this precinct. He's someone who's on his way out, but he doesn't want to leave this precinct without solving this case first. So, will he manage to solve the Howard and Ronnie Mathis murder? Will he get down to the bottom of what happened to Fame? One thing's definitely for sure, he ain't getting anything from Juke, unless she actually wants him to know certain things or send him down the wrong direction. We have seen her do that with Detective Burke before, so let's wait and see. But that's a quick little overview of the situation and how I'm seeing these pictures with Juke. I do think she is going to be on the hunt for OC, and this could potentially be a brother or a relative. It does also seem like she will also be on the hunt for answers in terms of what happened to Fame. Although I should have said earlier, maybe she actually has this conversation with Kanan after she has this conversation with Rock. So maybe at this point, she may not have actually already had this conversation with Kanan. That's definitely something to keep in mind. But Detective Garcia, I do think he's going to be a real pest in episode 8, 9, and 10. And he is going to start ramping up the pressure from law enforcement's aspect. But will they get that rare power win? Drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and I will run through the rest of the images for my usual episode preview on Thursday morning. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.